my name's Lee, welcome to my channel Kola Flipper. I'm a part-time UK reseller. I buy items second-hand at car boot sales and charity shops and I flip them online for a profit. Today is Sunday the 20th of September. Pretty decent car boot sale today. Got a few retro electronic items, well one, some other electronic bits and bobs and a fair bit of clothing and shoes. So yeah, I think today I spent about £60–65 all in, so I didn't go crazy. I was quite, I don't know if I was quite restrained or not actually, restrained-ish, but I should be able to turn that 60–65 quid into about 550-ish or thereabouts. So without further ado, actually let's get on with this first. So, a keyboard. Is it really worth picking up a keyboard? Depends on the type of a keyboard. There are certain keyboards which are specialists, which actually do command a decent price. As you can see, this one's got a curved layout, so it's an ergonomic keyboard which reduces the stress on your wrists. Microsoft tend to be the highest, I don't know about highest quality, but they tend to get a decent amount of return. So I picked this one up today for £3. Depending on the model and the year, you can get anywhere between sort of 15 and 25. And I haven't picked up any for ages, and randomly I've picked up 2 this week. So earlier in the week I popped to the bank to get change for the car boot sale. So I usually try and get about £50 in £5 notes and a tenner's worth of pound coins. And I kind of had to, between parking and the bank was a charity shop. So I thought, oh, I shouldn't go in, but I did. And ended up buying another ergonomic keyboard, and then they had loads of ladies' heels reduced to £1, so I bought a lot of ladies' heels. So yeah, again, they probably won't make my £20 profit, but they're all in clean and good condition, so I'll be able to, I don't need to clean them up, ready to photograph and get those out. But yeah, definitely worth keeping an eye out for. If you can get them at a sensible price, you're selling between £15 and £25. This one, it's still got the original protective plastic film on it, so that I don't know if I probably can sell it as new, to be honest. So or I can put as new and say that it's got the protective film, and that should command a slightly higher price than one without, I guess. So yeah, for £3 out, that's quite good. I don't know if I did pay £3. I think she wanted £3 for this and £1 for this. And I offered £3, so I think I got that for £2 in the end actually. I don't tend to pick up ink cartridges unless they're sealed, and the problem is when you're there early morning, this is one of my very early pickups, I can't go away and quickly check which ink cartridge is worth what. And I've not really had any problems before, so I've picked up ink cartridges usually anywhere 50p to £1, as much as I really want to pay. And the ones I've picked up before, they tend to sell for around the sort of £9 to £15 mark, so I've been relatively lucky so far. It's an original, so if it was Hewlett-Packard or Epson, I tend to pick them up. This is a HP, it's magenta only. When I've looked it up, it doesn't go for an awful lot. It looks I'll be lucky to get a £5, including postage. So whilst not technically, I'll still make money. If I'd known that, I just wouldn't have bothered. I just don't have the time to muck about with it. So saying that, it's a relatively easy item to list, photograph the front and back, and so it would take 5 minutes to get that one done. But I wouldn't bother with that at all. So not a fail, but I wouldn't normally have picked it up at that sort of low margin. One of my favourite pickups today is this. This is a proper sort of 80s boombox type thing. It was a bit strange. The guy had lots of, this was the only thing on his stall of interest, because a lot of it was plants. He was selling lots of sort of potted plants and that sort of thing, and this sort of stood out. And this was probably about 6:30, maybe coming up for 7 in the morning, and having a look at it, he asked for 25, and I wasn't 100% sure. So I quickly had a look on my phone sneakily and had a look, and they couldn't find this exact model, but any Hitachi ones with the twin cassette decks and this 3D superwoofer, which is essentially a built-in subwoofer, even for parts they go for about 35, 40. So I know that my money was safe if it didn't work. Depending on the quality and if they've needed to have belts replaced and that sort of thing, the condition, they can go for between 80 and 120. I asked I asked the guy if it was working. He said, I can show you because it's got batteries in it. I've just put new batteries in now. And they're the huge D battery, the huge batteries. So I got to have a quick play on it. He had checked the radio out, he had a tape in there, and it was all working. I made him an offer of, I can't remember if, I think I made an offer, but we settled on about £22, I think, in the end. But I'm really, really happy with that. And if, I mean, once I've got it cleaned up, I wouldn't anticipate any problem getting 80 quid for it, but I'll probably hold out and I'll push for a bit more. So I'm more than likely going to list it for 120, 125, and I'll take offers around the £100 mark, I would have thought. But yeah, and I had a bit of a play, and it's great. So, oh, see, that's not so good. Actually, got to turn it on first. So you got the on button, and then you've got this this little red light there for the 3D superwoofer on and off. That kind of takes me back to my youth. What he was actually playing there with the tape that he had was this. So, not sure which is your style. I think I prefer the first one. But yeah, that should be basically 20 odd quid into about 100. So really, really pleased with that. And the fact that both tape decks work means I don't need to replace the belts. If I had to replace the belts, that's extra work, and to be honest, I'd probably end up on my death pile for quite a while because I've got a few stereos where the belts have gone. So yeah, really pleased that actually everything's working on it straight away. So yeah, really, really good pickup there. So on to clothing next. Got some decent bits. Nowhere near the volume I've been picking up recently. There just wasn't as much there, so I still went through an awful lot of clothing, and there was basically anything with a decent brand I could find, the price was more than I really wanted to pay, and there just wasn't the volume that I usually see there. But I've got some really good clothing hauls recently, so it all balances out. There was a guy who was, it just didn't fit. I'm assuming that, I don't know if he's house clearance or he buys the stuff in bundles and then just sells it on there. But there was just a pile of clothes and shoes all mixed in together on the floor, and I basically spotted a pair of Karen Millen shoes in there. I'll show you those later. So I asked him how much the shoes were. He said everything's £1, all the shoes are £1, all the clothes are £1. So I picked up a few bits and pieces. The guy was a casual racist, which pissed me off, to be fair, and I heard him talking about things that about upset me, that made me angry, but I didn't want to jeopardise getting the bits and pieces. I just yeah, sometimes you just need to hold your tongue and get what you need to do done. So anyway, I digress. So couple of bits. All of these were £1, so I don't mind if some of them don't get my £20 margin, because they were so cheap, the risk is minimal on everything. So it's not the end of the world, but everything was in good condition, so I don't mind so much. In fact, buttons are all mismatched on that. So this is a nice chambray top by COS. COS. Well, I thought it was denim, and I was corrected by my wife that it's in fact chambray. I'm not entirely sure of the difference. I think it's like a finer knit denim. Should probably have checked that before I came on camera. But anyway, other than that, nice, no immediate, didn't notice any immediate dirt or stains or anything. All the collar and cuffs are in good condition, and Koss is a pretty good brand. So for £1 out, I should be able to flip that for between 15 and £20. I'll probably put it up at just over the £20 mark. If anything comes in somewhere between 15 and 20, the odds are I'll probably take it. So yeah, Koss is a good brand to have a look at. So for £1, very happy with that. Next one from the same guy is a Reiss dress, again one of my favourite manufacturers. So that is the label. It's not the normal Reiss label. This is 1971 Reiss. So I'm assuming Reiss was began in 1971, but about 10 years ago they did have a range which was aimed more at your younger, more out there, I don't know about more out there, but more fashiony types. And that 1971 range, so if you ever see anything with Reiss 1971, it means it's at least, I don't know if that range still continues now, but it started 10 years ago, so 2010 is when it was released, so it means it was made in the last 10 years. So yeah, nice cotton mix, and it's got a bit of stretch in it, got some bust support in there as well. But at £1, gonna need a hell of a steam, but at £1 out, that should again be a pretty easy 18 to 25 somewhere. So again, I'll chalk that up as probably getting about 20 quid. This was in there, and this is white stuff. So okay, this is a fail. So this is the problem when you're scrabbling around on the floor with lots of people. White Stuff is a brand, pretty decent quality gear, and at £1 it was worth taking a risk, because I was trying to do everything in a hurry because there's a lot of people about. And what I've noticed now, straight away, now I've spread it out under under my studio lights, is there's a couple of moth holes in it, which is unfortunate. This is you can fit, it's a cashmere mix, jumper dress, but got a hole there, and well, I can stick my bloody finger through, so that's not ideal. So not entirely sure what I'm going to do with that, but that was a waste of money. But at £1 each, if you can get stuff cheap enough, it's not the end of the world if you make a mistake. I have made a mistake, I've lost £1. I'm frustrated that I've missed something, but in the heat of the moment, you're not going to pick up every flaw. So out of the 4 items I've got from the guy, if 3 of them are fine at £1, well, then it means that the good ones I've paid £1.33 each for, which is still absolutely fine. So yeah, annoying, but not the end of the world. If that had been flawless, White Stuff, it's hit and miss. Sometimes it sells quickly for me, sometimes it doesn't. I think it depends on the item and the season. A cashmere mix is a small percentage of cashmere, but a cashmere mix jumper dress I would have put up again at around the £25 mark, and taken off as anywhere from sort of 17 to 20 is acceptable to me. So pretty much all of these bits I would have thought I would put them up at around that range, around the £25 mark, and with the knowledge that I would probably take an offer around the 17 to 20. So this is a Next trench. Little bit of dirt, and it does need a bit of a clean. Do I normally pick up Next clothing? No, I tend not to, because whilst they're a relatively good quality high street brand, the margins just aren't in it for me. I like to make my £20 after fees, and there's rarely anything I can get that's Next that will do that. Yeah, you can easily make a tenner depending on the item, but I've had no issue with getting good quality high-end high street or designer brands, so I just don't have the space or the time to deal with Next. But as this was all in the pile together, and I thought, you know what, if I can get a coat, a trench coat for £1, it would be silly not to. Again, this is something I'd put up around the £25 mark. It should fetch between £15 and £20, really. But it was quite nice. So, but I do think my wife has got her eye on it, so I may not actually be able to sell this one. But yeah, nice sort of. It's quite nice. It's got like a linen sort of pattern. I don't believe it is linen, but it's yeah, quite a nice jacket that. So a few little marks, hopefully it'll clean up. But yeah, again, for £1, not the end of the world. If it all goes wrong and it means that I can't get the marks out of that, they're not big marks, they're little marks, then I've paid £2 each for those. I'm still not going to lose money. So not a fail, not the margins that I usually push for, but not too bad. But yeah, today pretty slim pickings on clothing, which is was a little bit surprising considering how good I've had it over the last few weeks. Maybe I've built it up a little bit in my head of how good it is, and then all of a sudden it isn't so good. Or maybe I was just being extra cautious on my buys because I know that I'm starting to run out of storage space. So maybe a combination of those both. Last piece of clothing, a different stall holder, and this is a ladies Nike tracksuit top, and this is a Nike Air Max branded one. So yeah, nice jacket. It's yeah, good size, that sort of a medium. I don't know if I'll run into problems here because it does say it's a large girls, but the reality is it's a medium. I tried this on thinking it might be boys and then gents one, and then figured out the zip was on the wrong side and I could squeeze into that. So yeah, it's basically a medium ladies Nike tracksuit. And that's what I'm going to market it as. I'll do the measurements in very good condition. I'll stick it through the wash, but yeah, good. I paid, she wanted 4, we settled on 350. I should be able to turn that into 20 to 25 without too much of a problem. Nike stuff sells regularly and it sells relatively quickly. New in the shops, that's going to be 50 odd quid. So yeah, happy with that. So I think that is it for clothing. Okay, these are my first 2 buys of the day. It was just getting light as I got there this morning, and people were still setting up and sort of shooing people away. I'm not selling yet, and I'm getting stuff ready. And there's probably 2 rows ready, so I had a quick look up the row that was people putting stuff out, but no one was really selling at the time, or I couldn't see anything of use. Went round to the row that had just set up a few moments ago. I spotted these. These are barely worn. These are Nike, and these are Stefan Janowski, who is a skateboarder. So I've sold Janowski trainers before, and not in this is suede, so it's actually a little bit nicer actually, and I got £35 for them. But they were in a brighter, not so often seen colourway. So I don't know if these are going to command exactly the same sort of money, but I should easily be able to flip these for 25. I paid 5, which is more than I really wanted to, and I wondered if I'd overpaid at first. But actually, condition-wise, they are absolutely fantastic. I'll bring them up so you can see. So you can see no heel wear at all. You've still got all the little rubber moulding marks there. So they're going to need a very brief clean up. The suede's in very good condition. So yeah, for a £5, and there's the name, Stefan Janowski, Nike skateboarding. So yeah, definitely worth keeping an eye out for these. I've had them in a couple of different colourways, but yeah, it should be an easy 25. I have sold ones for 35 before, but I don't think these will go for that. But saying that, they are suede, so we'll see. So yeah, probably the upper of what I really want to pay for this sort of style of trainer. But yeah, fine. So paid $5 for that. The exact next store, ladies putting out trainers, and I don't tend to pick up Converse unless they're leather, just because they're a pain in the butt to clean. I did have a pair that I sold for over £40. It was a pair of the high tops that were canvas. The only reason I got them was they had a limited edition print on them, the cat in the hat. So it was all cat in the hat print on the outside and then the inside, and they were quite rare. So I got like £42, something like that for them. These ones in leather, in a sensible men's size, this is a 10, you can usually get around the 20-ish plus mark for those. I think they're about 65, 70 quid in leather, new. So yeah, pretty good. These barely worn again, very little wear. This bit always wears first. So these are worn, more worn than the first pair. I asked how much she wanted, 50p. So £5.50 for the pair. It is good. So when I'm buying, I know that certain shoes are going to cost more, certain shoes are going to cost less than my sort of thresholds that I work out beforehand. So even if I slightly overpay for something, I know that I'm going to slightly underpay for something else, and it all balances out. So as long as you're keeping a mental track of what you're doing and make conscious decisions knowing this when you're buying, you'll be fine. The other good news is, these being a 10, they fit me, and my current Converse ones are knackered. One of the things you do need to do is the bend test. Now normally you're looking for cracking underneath on most trainers when you're doing the bend. Because these are rubber rather than EVA sole, EVA foam is what tends to split. With rubber, what you're looking for is puckering where the leather and the rubber join. So when you're doing that, usually if they're a bit knackered and the glue's gone, this rubber outer will peel away from the leather. So I always do the bend on Converse just to check, is the rubber at the side coming away. I personally have a pair, all white, triple white like this, and that's what's happening. Mine are coming apart, they can't be re-glued anymore. So actually for 50p, these are mine. There's a little bit of this leather here, needs a little bit of care. But actually, one of the things you can do with leather, if it's all crinkled and out of shape, use a clothes steamer, and you can heat up that leather and add moisture to it, and you can sort of remold it. And so that's, I'll probably put that into another video at some point. But yeah, these two pairs for £5.50, really chuffed, especially as I've got a knackered pair now. So yeah, all good. So earlier I mentioned that I bought some clothing from a casual racist, and these are the shoes that I got from the same guy. So basically these are £1 a pair, and it was just a great big pile of shoes, so it was actually quite difficult. You'd find one that you like and you had to dig through and find the other one. The first things that I actually saw were these ones. These are Karen Millen ones. So I picked these up. I picked up one and had to dig, and as I dug through I found a few other bits and pieces. So at £1, you can't go far wrong. But it was a big mixture of kind of half decent stuff and just took that you wouldn't really want to touch. These Karen Millens, so sort of nice little slingback sandal types, sort of about a 7cm heel, and these are brand spanking new. So you can see there, never been used. That's a little sign showing it's leather, and again you've got the heel in fantastic condition. These are a size 39, so yeah, for £1 that's fantastic. Usually I'll put them up at around I don't do so much in the way of heels now, so I try and minimise my costs wherever I can. So £1 each, that's why it's not so much of a problem. These, I'll probably put them up at just over 20 quid, but I'll probably take anywhere around the £20 mark. So yeah, really pleased with those for £1. These ones, didn't know the brand. These are La Vida Rosa. Never heard of them, but I picked them up because it's a quality leather upper, full leather sole, and barely worn, and the leather lining as well. So just on the construction alone and the materials, triple leather, it's going to be a half decent brand. I've had a look. I have now found a Spanish website. It doesn't look like there was an awful lot in the way of heels that they do anymore. There's a lot of espadrilles, so I do need to still do some digging looking for comps. Barely anything on eBay, but quality wise, I'm happy with that. So they might stick around, because if, again, there was no time for me to look for comparables and to see if they sell well. So I just went and took a punt at £1. The reality is they might sit around for ages, but at £1 it really doesn't matter. But these, they're a nice, good quality shoe. So yeah, at £1, that's fine. And these are a fail. So, Steve Madden. See the label there. Steve Madden shoes have sold relatively well for me. Pick them up. Usually I don't really want to spend any more than a £5, and I can usually sell them for around 15 to 22, 23, depending on the style and the condition. These, barely worn. Again, barely worn there. The heel is in very good condition, used but in very good condition. I found that one, digging around, eventually found the other one. Where it's a fail, did not see that. And I don't know if I can get that out, because it doesn't look like it's something on the outside of the shoe. It looks like it's a problem with actual discoloration, or something stained it from the inside, but I can't see. So yeah, that might be a complete fail. At worst, at absolute worst, I'll take the heel tips off, or I don't know, it's patent leather. I don't know if I can be asked with dyeing it. You can dye shoes, but it's just it's more hassle than it's worth, and at £1 it's not worth mucking about. So the reality is I'll probably take the heels off, the heel tips, and I'll use them as spares. I've got a big stack of I buy heel tips in bulk anyway, so that when I sell shoes, if the heel tips are, it means that if I see a pair of shoes that are good quality but it needs rehealing, rather than me going to the cobblers and paying 8-10 quid to get a new heel tip put on, or a pair of new heel tips put on, I can do it. So because I'm buying the heel tips in bulk, I'm probably paying about 60p a pair of heel tips, and it takes me 10 minutes to do myself, so really not an issue at all. So I've got all different sizes, and black and brown ones, and some sort of beige ones, and that gets me out of trouble, and it just means that I've got a bit of bargaining power when I'm buying shoes to say, these are really nice, but I'm going to need to get them rehealed, can you do me a discount? Knowing full well I can do it myself. But yeah, so that could have been a good buy. That has ruined it. Had they been in good condition, because these are a high stiletto, they've usually gone around the sort of £20+ mark for me. And I prefer, with an enclosed shoe like that, sizing is more difficult, and people tend to be a bit more, they don't tend to go as quickly as I'd hoped. Anything where there's a bit of give and leeway on the size, so something with a strap, these have got adjustments on the side, these will give you, anything with a sling back design will give you more leeway on size for selling, and it also means you're less likely to get a return. With these, I might sell these 4 times and they'll come back to me, so that is the risk you take with a closed heel shoe. I've tended to buy less closed heeled shoes. I do buy them on occasion depending on the price and the risk minimisation, but yeah, it's something to be aware of. But anything with a sling back or an open back or a mule or whatever, you've got that little bit more leeway and less chance of it coming back because it doesn't fit. So yeah, fail on those. Maybe I shouldn't have picked those up, but £1, we'll see. And those at £1, fantastic, brand new, love it. Right, I'll grab some more. Okay, next couple of shoes. We have got some ladies' Clark's Originals. So these are a design called a Maru London. Well constructed shoe, good quality leather, and you've got a crepe sole. Crepe can be a bit of a pain to clear up, but it's not filthy. The bottom's got dirt on it. Don't worry, this is not my tablecloth, this is my tat display cloth, but the sides are not too bad. She asked for 3, I paid 3 because I know damn well that these are expensive new. These are about £90 new. So whilst they may look a bit plain, maybe edging on boring, but they're a comfortable, good quality shoe. Comfortable, good quality shoes sell well. The construction is very good as well. I'll just bring it up so you can see. So a lot of shoes where they're glued on, you can see here, the leather goes around and shaped around and then out and stitched into the sole. Most stitch soles will go under and are stitched through underneath. It's called a Blake stitch. And then you'll have, I'll show you what, there's a different type of stitch as well. Give me a sec. So the best quality of stitch is something with a welt. So here, the shoe the leather goes around, and then this extra layer of leather that goes around here is called the welt, and that adds waterproofing. So it's basically, you've got the inner is stitched to the sole, and then the inner is stitched to the welt, and the welt is then stitched to the sole, which allows it to be have much more waterproofing and have it's just a better quality construction. So that is stitched right the way through to the bottom. So this is my own personal pair. This is a pair of Grensons. So yeah, if you ever see Grensons, that is a good brand to look out for. But that's a high quality construction sole. So if you see anything like that, usually indicates it's high quality, but there are so many where it looks like this and then you realise it's all moulded pretend stitching underneath, and it's fake welts. So if you've got a real welt on a shoe, you want to just check, does that stitching go right the way through, and then that indicates higher quality construction. So that's a pair of Grensons. Another good brand of this sort of quality is Trickers. Trickers are probably a bit more expensive. These, yeah, Grensons, this sort of boot of the Grenson new, you're looking about 190. A pair of Trickers, again, similar look, construction, you're probably looking at closer to £400. So yeah, they're 2 brands to keep an eye out for. Anyway, I digress. I went on a bit about shoe construction there, a bit boring, maybe useful. Anyway, so these, £3, should be able to get. Clark's is a good brand. These are about 90 new. I would anticipate I should be able to sell these easily for 25. I might push a little bit more. Obviously, I need to put a bit of work in because there's some marks and that around the crepe. So a bit of time on cleaning up the crepe sole and then nourish and polish the leather. I can make these look pretty much like new again. So I should be able to do pretty well. I might push a little bit higher than the 25. Don't know, we'll see. I'll see what the comps are, but I reckon I can do well on these because these are a nice shoe. Next one, Superga. These aren't just normal Superga. These, keep a little eye out for that A. These are Superga times Alexa Chung. If you don't know who Alexa Chung is...
Sorry, I don't know that.
Alexa, stop. Amazon. Right, anyway, so if that person I just mentioned, I think she used to go out with the main guy from the Arctic Monkeys. Anyway, I digress again. She was very fashionable person over the last sort of 10 years or so, and she even had a Mulberry handbag. That the Alexa handbag is named after her. So she's obviously worked with Superga at some point. These trainers are in pretty good condition. Again, you've got a crepe sole on there, few little glue marks which I can sort out, but there's minimal wear. So once these have been cleaned up a little bit, super good trainers. The full ones with the full heel, they're usually about £60+ new. These are in very good condition. I would have thought I'd be able to get 20, 25 maybe at a push. So yeah, especially as they are this with that person, I don't want Amazon to kick off again. So yeah, so we should do all right out of those. I paid £2 or £3, can't remember, but 2 or 3 into 20-ish, that's fine by me. Right, next bits. Okay, so next ones, we have got a pair of, who are these? I can't even remember now. So many shoes, I get confused. Who have we got? Aldo. Aldo's a half decent high street brand. Ladies' shoes and boots in decent quality. They're usually around the up to £100 mark, so they're okay. They're pretty good. These are decent suede boots. Little bit of wear, but there's still life in the heel, so always check that. And these have got a leather upper, a mixed leather and textile inner, and a man-made sole. There's a little bit of dirt on them, a little bit of a mark on one side. I think there was a bit of dirt there, and that's why I got them for £2, I think, in the end. I think that's what we agreed on, £2 or £3, I forget. A 90 to £100 boot for £2-3, fine. I should be able to get 20 to 30 for these, depending. I should be able to get these looking brand new again. I'm good at cleaning leather and suede, so if I can get these looking brand spanking new, I'll probably put them up at around the 30 mark, and I'll take offers anywhere in between, depending on my mood. So that's those. So Aldo, reasonable brand, not amazing, but if I can get a cheap enough deal, I'm happy to go. Now these ones, these are in much more of a state. As you can see, these are filthy, not looking good. I paid, how much did she want? I think she wanted 4. I said, well, they're in a bit of a state, the leather's knackered. Would you take 3? And she was like, no, they're 4 because they're in a bit of a state and I haven't looked after them as well as I should. And to be honest, they're Boden. Boden's a good brand, so these are leather upper. When you get, always check your zips, make sure there's no problems with the zips. Full leather lining, always check, because if it's the fake leather, the reproduction, imitation leather, in heat cycles it tends to eventually start to split and peel off, and it makes the boots not maybe unsaleable, but if I was looking to buy a pair of boots and I could see a pair that were £5 more and in good condition, or you've got the pair that's £5 less and all the insides are coming apart, I'd pay the extra £5, as in to buy for myself if I was doing that. So when I look, I tend to steer clear of lower quality boots which have a imitation leather lining, because they cheapen the constructions. If it's full leather inner and outer, it's a higher quality shoe. If it's got a faux leather inner, it's a cheaper quality construction, which basically means that you're going to limit your upper selling price. These are leather all round. So you've got elastic side gusset, which means it's going to give a lot of flexibility for and comfort for the user. Good quality leather outer. You've got a thinner leather lining, and then these have got a proper leather sole as well. And there you go, you can see that. So you've got your 3 different leather symbols there for your upper, lining and sole. So these are Boden, made in Spain. Spanish made shoes are good. Heel, was that a bit of stain fell out of it? There's some wear. Depends on my mood whether I'll swap out the heel lift or not. So I need to have a think about that. But these look as though they're in a bit of a state. I will have these looking brand spanking new once I've cleaned them up. So they'll need a full clean with saddle soap. I'll need to stuff them to reshape them a bit. This edging, I'm gonna have to go around with sandpaper. Once I've sandpapered that down, I can then re-dye that with leather dye, and I'll re-dye that brown. Once that's done, I'll then go over with shoe cream and then shoe polish. So yes, I have to put some work into that, but that will turn 3 or 4 quid into, I reckon I'll get 40, 45 for these. So yeah, worth an investment of my time. But yeah, good quality shoe, and that's Bowden. So yeah, not too bad, that one. Right, last 3 pairs and we are done. So, I can't remember what I paid for these. It was either 50p or £1, I think. The person clearly wasn't selling their own shoes because I had no idea. These are Salvatore Ferragamo. Really decent brand. So, that's the logo. If the angle of the shot has changed slightly, it's because as I left I kicked my tripod. So yeah, anyway, so Salvatore Ferragamo, really decent high-end brand. The shoes aren't in amazing condition, they need a clean up. Soles are alright, but again, suede upper, leather sole. They need a bit of a clean, so I do need to give them a little bit of care and attention. So once I've given them a clean and stuffed them when they're drying, they'll dry back in the proper shape. I paid, it was either 50p or £1, and in my head I was thinking if she said under 3 quid, I'll definitely get them. Any more than that, I don't know if I would, because again, I was talking earlier about the risk of a shoe with a closed heel on it, that you get more returns because you know they fit or they don't. Where at least with the sling back, you've got that adjustability to give you a little bit of leeway on the size. So yeah, to minimise returns, I kind of maybe steer away from these just a little bit more. But at 50p for Ferragamo's, hopefully someone who has already got Ferragamo's wants to get more, and they're confident on their sizing. So these are what are these, 30? I have no idea. I don't know, they're a sensible size anyway, so I wouldn't have thought I'd have any issues. He says not knowing the size. Oh Christ. Anyway, let's ignore that, I'll figure that out later. Last 2 pairs of shoes are these are both Timberland. Don't know about so much as overpaying, but I paid more for these ones than I did for these. But there is a reason that I paid more, and that was because they were in better condition. These need a bit of a wipe down, a very, very quick clean, and these are ready to sell. These ones need more of a clean and a bit more tarting up. So as I'm going to have to exert more effort into getting them ready, I need to build that into my prices. So Timberland knee-high boots, any boots, whenever you get them, always quickly just check the zips, go up and down. But these ones have got leather trim, nubuck, like your Timberland nubuck on the sides, need to do the lacing up. Lots of life left in the heel, and yeah, so nice standard sort of looking boots. With winter coming up, boots always go very well for me. These new would have been in the region of £100 or thereabouts. Timberland's a good brand. They would have been somewhere around the 90 to £120 mark or thereabouts. So she wouldn't budge on 7, and the reality is I should be able to sell them for about minimum £35. So my £20 margin is safe. I might push a little bit higher. Happy to pay up to £7 on these because they're in good nick and need minimal care and attention before I take the photo, so they need a very quick clean. They're ready to rock and roll. These, again, the lady wouldn't budge on the price, only paid £4. Reason, again, I said, well, you know, they've got a couple of marks, I don't know if I'll be able to get out. It's a bit of wear around the toe. These have got a combination leather rubber sole. I'll show you the wear that I'm talking about. So not brilliant. There is wear around the edge. What I might do is get my sander out and even that up a little bit. I'll also set with leather. The good thing about leather, you can sand this edge down. I do it with a harsher, more aggressive sandpaper first, and then go down to about 200 grit. 200 grit's a finer one, so you get a smoother finish. Once you've got down to that, you can then put your leather care onto it. These ones, rather than dyeing them like I will with a pair of like men's, the heel block on a pair of men's shoes or whatever, or the riding boots from earlier, these ones I'll probably keep neutral, and it will make them look like new again. If I even up that toe piece, that'll be fine as well. But yeah, there are some marks in the leather, so not in fantastic condition, but I'm pretty good at cleaning up leather, so I wouldn't have thought there'd be an issue. Again, you've got the elasticated rear section, which gives you a little bit of leeway on the calf size. Other things, when I'm selling boots, any shoes or boots, always measure and quote the heel height. I also will measure from the instep, so here, that section there, to the top. So you usually find that a below knee height boot is around 40 centimetres, there to there. And then I'll measure the circumference around the top, because people do have different sized calves. Again, most boots will have a gusset of some sort to give a bit of flexibility for movement and fit, but these ones have got a nice big gusset across the back. But yeah, nice. These are high quality. I'd say these were more expensive than these originally, but these need more work, hence why I wouldn't have wanted to pay too much. So yeah, both of those should be able to get, as long as I can get these ones looking neat, which I should do, around the 35-ish, I reckon, on these. So yeah, I've had a pretty successful day. Only a few questionable, I can't even say the word, questionable, there you go, a few questionable purchases, and one outright fail, which is the one with the holes in. So yeah, pretty good. Should be about 65 quid into about 550. Little bit of hard work on a few of these with cleaning up, but not too bad really. My favourite buy has got to be that Hitachi boombox. I'd be tempted to keep it if I didn't already have 3 or 4 of those in the garage that need to be fixed. I need to get some of them out of the house. So as that's working, it needs a bit of a clean up, and that's in saleable condition. The keyboard, that's ready to rock and roll out the door. So I've got a few little bits that will sell quickly, and that covers everything else, and I don't mind how long it takes to sell. So yeah, not a lot in the way of clothing. I've done well on the shoes and boots today, but that's about it. So thank you for joining me. Hopefully that has been informative, useful, maybe educational. Please can you give the video a thumbs up? It really helps me. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so. It really helps me as well. So that's it for me. So my name's Lee. Thank you for watching me on Kola Flipper, and I shall see you next time.